Good evening, America. My name is Katie Britt, and I have the honor of serving the people of the great state of Alabama in the United States Senate. However, that's not the job that matters most. I am a proud wife and mom of 2 school-aged kids. My daughter Bennett and my son Ridgway are why I ran for the Senate.
I just know that it's the kind of name that I'm pretty sure that it comes with like a country club membership. Yeah, Bennett and Ridgway. In the comics, they would always make the bullies look like people who were the frontmen from Rancid, but it actually turned out it was my son Ridgway.
Like, what the fuck kind of name is Ridgway anyway?
I'm worried about their future and the future of children in every corner of our nation. And that's why I invited you into our home.
Yeah, we're worried about it too. It's called Project 2025.
Why is it turning meatloaf?
And that's probably what they're screaming from behind the camera. They're like, okay, she's in the kitchen, but is she barefoot? And she might possibly be pregnant.
Tonight.
1950s Jell-O
like
recipes.
So many families across America, my husband Wesley and I just watched President Biden's State of the Union address from our living room. And what we saw was the performance of a permanent politician who has actually been in office for longer than I've been alive.
Is she referring to the record economic numbers that he was touting and the record job growth? Because he's been a politician for that long and he actually knows what the fuck he's doing, as opposed to being like, I don't know, a failed reality television star.
Technically, it was a successful reality TV star. He was a successful reality TV star, but a failed president. So it's like he's good at doing like the dog shit stuff, but you know, like when it gets serious, then it's like an idiot.
Well, I mean, I'll never forget when, he just simply allowed people to die from COVID because, he knew about it already and was talking with Bob Woodward and was like, yeah, it's really, really bad, but I don't want to upset my buddies on Wall Street.
I can't get over how they have like this senator that nobody knew with the whole Alabama IVF deal, and like she's gonna like look out for us, like, and the women. It's fucking stupid. I mean, like, it's the biggest self-owned.
It's they bone themselves because they're for it, but yet at the same time they have to be like, but we're against it because of religion. Like they've boned themselves so hard on this issue, which is hilarious because why would you have a senator from the state that everybody is paying attention to?
Exactly.
Yeah, it's like
or Trump had his health plan. Remember, it was in that binder.
I thought it was I thought it was inside of one of those like multiple flushes that it took.
or when he divested from all his companies with all those blank pieces of paper. It was like,
all right.
I don't know. I got a bunch of MAGA buddies that are trying to tell me that
sound levels and deal too.
That's okay.
I got MAGA buddies telling me it was so much better under Trump. And I'm like, what the fuck?
It's like
Infrastructure Week was
I think
a fucking
they had the
Saturday
illusion
night.
of that in their minds.
Infrastructure for years. I remember having to ration toilet paper. That's all I'm saying. I remember having to ration toilet paper.
Bidet. Number one bidet.
All right, let's do this.
Biden just doesn't get it. He's out of touch. Under his administration, families are worse off, our communities are less safe, and our country is less secure.
Okay, then it's a good thing he mentioned that corporations were price gouging, and if you really want a secure border, tell the Republicans to sign the bill. And then the really annoying part is her talking about with crime, whereas we know from the statistics that have been reported that, well, crime's at a record low. It's almost like having to do a real-time fact check with this mess.
What real families are facing around kitchen tables just like this one. You know, this is where our family
I see him on there.
has tough conversations. It's where we make hard decisions. It's where we share the good, the bad, and the ugly of our day.
I hear you on
It's
Discord.
where we laugh together. And it's where we hold each
that's where
other's hands and pray for God's guidance. And
Oh,
many
well, fuck
nights, to be honest, it's where Wesley and I worry. I know we're not alone.
They sit inside of their mansion with their fully furbished kitchen and worry while her...
I thought it was a gangbang. What the fuck?
While her news-ready hair and makeup and light job completely accentuate the perfectly placed gold cross. Yeah, it does look like from old school when he comes in and his wife is doing the gangbang.
Banging a bunch of people.
Yeah.
I fell down. It's okay. I'll be right back.
Yeah, that's right, Terp. Violent crime is at a 50-year low. Yeah, we are all worried about the future of our nation. She's absolutely 100% correct about that.
The country we know and love seems to be slipping away, and it feels like the next generation will have fewer opportunities and less freedoms than we did. I worry my own children may not even get a shot at living their American dream.
Is she literally
what about
saying...
Nels with the Never Surrender shirt?
Yeah, is she literally saying this as part of the party that wants to completely remove women's bodily autonomy? It just doesn't seem like something that somebody that is trying to take away rights would talk about, how they're afraid that their children won't have as many rights.
And you don't even follow your own philosophy, assholes.
No, they don't. They, well, we know how it goes. Rules for thee, but not for me. The Christian nationalism mess is pretty much, like I said, it's like religious Calvin ball. You can just change the rules at any time to whatever you want. Exactly. It's all about her kid's American dream, Theron. That's correct. She's worried about her sons. Exactly, Terp. They're sick of this acceptance and tolerance. Yeah,
Ridgeway.
it's like heaven forget. Yeah. Ridgeway wants to be able to bully people. Damn it.
His dad's 6'8", so he's gonna be a big dude. Whoever the fuck he is.
6'8". Jesus Christ. Oh yeah, he used to play for the NFL.
My mom's dance studio. I never could have imagined what
Your
my
mom's
story
dance
would entail.
studio.
To
You had it
think
so hard.
about what the American dream can do across to just one generation in just one. But right now, the American dream has turned into a nightmare for so many families.
Yeah, especially any families that had their kids gunned down by crazy fucking MAGA people. Yeah, that's right. Captain Terp. Cue crocodile tears. Exactly.
I know. I was like, where are you seeing Captain Turk? And I forgot to turn on the chat on this.
On the old Twitch chat.
The true, unvarnished state of our union
Or British.
begins and ends with this. Our families are hurting. Our country can do better. And you don't have to look any further than the crisis at our southern border to see it.
All right, we know exactly what she's gonna do, and we know exactly what the fucking truth is, don't we?
Thought I was crying.
Yeah, we know exactly what she's trying to do. And I mean, that's one of the reasons they got so butthurt during the State of the Union, because Biden was like, what? You don't want that deal? One that was put together by Langford, one of the most conservative members of the Senate, because Trump wants to run on it. But none of them
goaded him so hard. He's like, oh, you don't like that? I thought you liked that.
He knew that they weren't going to sign it and that Trump wanted to run on it. And he knew that he could call them out in a bipartisan fashion before the State of the Union and they wouldn't come together. So the fact that he did it during the State of the Union, hey, I'm sorry if that's but that's politics, bitch.
Know when to hold them. Know when to fold them.
President Biden inherited the most secure border of all time. But minutes after taking office, he suspended all deportations.
Okay, we all know that those numbers are false.
I did eat at the Kenny Rogers restaurant.
Yeah, I met Kenny Rogers in an airport. I walked up to him and I was like, holy living fuck, you're Kenny Rogers, aren't you? And he's like, yes, I am. And walked away. And that's my fucking Kenny Rogers story.
Nice. The best song is the one from fucking The Big Lebowski, obviously.
Oh yeah, back when he was doing the not solo Kenny Rogers stuff. Title 42 is a scam. It created false numbers at the border. Well, not just that, but also, I mean, Schedule F was also another thing that Biden rescinded on day one, which was, one of the building blocks of Project 2025. So they'll sit there and talk about all the things that he unfucked on his first day, but they know that it was actually good policy, but they're not allowed to say that. Yeah. I tripped on a cloud and fell 8 miles high. I told my mind on a jagged sky. Oh yeah, it's a great song.
He halted construction of the border wall, and he announced a plan to give amnesty to millions. We know that President Biden didn't just create this border crisis.
The border wall wasn't even done.
With 94 executive actions in his first 100 days.
I love how she went from being all like super caring and almost on the edge of tears to all the like this angry like champion of the people. Let's hear it for
Did you guys see that her husband got a cushy like consulting job?
With her
right about the time she was appointed to the Senate.
Makes sense.
Kind of like the Wilbur dude.
Dems could completely shut the border down and they still wouldn't pass it. Oh, well, then what they would do is they would say because Biden did it under executive order that he's a tyrant. The same thing that they did to Obama because the Fashcant original. Can't shut the border down. It's such a stupid take. Well, yeah, I mean, if they used to try to do it through executive actions also, I mean, how many hurdles would they have to face with the courts? That's my question. I mean, and you know that no matter what, it would have that spin on it.
When I took office, I took a different approach. I traveled to the Del Rio sector of Texas. That's where I spoke to a woman who shared her story with me. She had been sex trafficked by the cartels starting at the age of 12. She told me not just that she was raped every day, but how many times a day she was raped.
Holy shit, they're literally going into this kind of cringe fest as a retort to a State of the Union that was chock full of actual facts and numbers. She said, I spoke to a woman. Now, don't get me wrong, this person might exist, but is this also the same person as the many people that often say things? I'm curious about that. Many people are saying.
I don't know. This is like an this is like an avant-garde rebuttal.
I was just not expecting to hear the R word so many times as a part of a State of the Union rebuttal. Like, I know they have to tap into the fear center of conservatives, but for fuck's sake.
The cartels put her on a mattress in a shoebox of a room.
14
And
years
they sent
with UPS.
Men through that door over and over again for hours and hours on end.
Ugh.
We wouldn't be okay with this happening in a third world country. This is the United States of America, and it is past time, in my opinion.
I thought you
Tap into that fear center.
This is despicable. And the truth is, it is almost entirely preventable. From fentanyl poisonings to horrific murders. There are empty chairs tonight at kitchen tables, just like.
Yes, there are empty chairs at kitchen tables because Trump let them fucking die from COVID. She is doing everything she can to try to make sure that it's not only you, quote unquote, blame Biden for the border, but also trying to demonize brown people as much as possible within this by once more tapping into that fear center. She keeps saying kitchen table issues like this. Nice, try to be relatable. Yeah, last I checked, that kind of thing, that a kitchen table issue wasn't talking about coyotes at the border doing unspeakable things. I mean, don't get me wrong, that's something that is not something that we should allow. But if they genuinely wanted to not allow it, they'd sign the fucking bill, right? Right? I'm just saying.
This one, because of President Biden's senseless border policies. Just think about Lake and Riley. In my neighboring state of Georgia, this beautiful 22-year-old
and I completely agree that
she never
it's terrible
got the
that happened
to return home.
But
she was brutally murdered by
they're going
one
to
of
just
the
consistently ride
of
this.
illegal border crossers President Biden chose to release into our homeland.
Exactly. Let's go ahead and blame it on Biden waiting for an exorcist moment. Breathless indignation. Oh yeah, I mean, it's honest to God just belligerent stupidity. If you're dumb enough to be able to not buy this Dollar Tree acting job, then I don't know what to say.
Finally said her name. But he refused to take responsibility for his own actions.
How many times did you say
Mr.
George Floyd's
President,
name?
Enough is enough. Innocent Americans are dying, and you only have yourself to blame.
Is she talking about cops?
They're dying.
Because last I checked, how many innocent people have been summarily executed by cops? Luckily, Colorado ended qualified immunity. Qualified immunity is like encourages the Farvas of the world to become police. Bet she can't name one POC that's been murdered by a cop. I guarantee that she can't. Shooby-Doo 1, Michael Johnson said he wants to take money from the DOJ, FBI. Well, yeah, I mean, that's just all part of Project 2025. They want to centralize the government by getting rid of any sort of quote-unquote bureaucracy that might be in the way of, holding anybody accountable who's stealing money or fucking selling government secrets.
Yeah, so they can just steal everything possible.
Yeah, I mean, it's like how Huey Long was like, I'm going to make a law so that the federal government can't come into Louisiana, so that way I can do whatever the hell that I want. And if they try coming in, it's illegal.
I mean,
End this crisis and stop the suffering.
Stop the insanity, Susan Powder.
Sadly, we know that President Biden's failures don't stop there. His reckless spending dug our economy into a hole and sent the cost.
His reckless spending, quote unquote, also known as the Inflation Reduction Act, is not only reduced inflation, but also his reckless spending seems to, I don't know, they were screaming about having a recession, right? There's going to be a recession. There's going to be a recession. And it's like, aren't we at record high numbers every single day now, to the point where like Fox can't even gaslight it?
this is fine. This is fine, dude. We just know now. It's like we just know now that Republicans are just like canaries. We just got to do the opposite of what they say, and then that's the fucking right thing. It's like, I was like, oh, fucking thank God we have you, or we wouldn't know what was wrong.
I mean, it's not hard to figure out that, like, you just have to like be into decency and be into liberty for everybody.
It's just nice that there's like
difficult.
Such a big contrast, so you can go, oh, I understand what you're doing, you're a big piece of shit, that I can, now I really understand what's good now.
Theron says, I hope her fellow senators mock her so hard when they go back to work. Hey, do you think you can invite us to your kitchen table and tell us about some issues and maybe cry? Do you think you can do that? And the Captain Terp says, the Dow is about to start with a 4. It's getting funny. Oh my God, that's absolutely astounding. So when is it that the millionaires who are funding the conservatives are all of a sudden like, we're actually making a lot more money under Biden than we ever were with Trump? Like, is it just that they're really afraid because, Biden's talking about literally taxing the wealthy. And I know that that's like always been a serious problem.
Hate their labor, though.
Well, they hate labor as in people. They hate paying people fairly for their work, and they enjoy getting their tax cuts. And I think genuinely that that's one of the reasons that, this goes back to the 1930s with the business plot. There was so many industrialists who were like, look, I will spend like half of my money to keep it, because the same thing happened in the 1930s with the wealth tax was being proposed. And, remember that whole business plot that happened, and they had tried to hire Smedley Butler to take all of the disgruntled veterans and overthrow the government. And obviously that didn't end up working, but they obviously, the industrialists these days don't want to pay their fair share of taxes. And that's another reason, like I said, they hate Biden, because anytime that the rich are taxed, they call it socialism. And
we got a good contract for once in like 10 years.
Yeah. And, who got you that contract, A. And then B, what I was talking about with wealth taxes, look what Truman did right after World War II. He started taxing the wealthy, and like that was easily some of the best economic days that America can remember, was under Truman's presidency.
Through the roof. We have the worst inflation in 40
this
years,
hoe right here.
and the highest credit card debt in our nation's history. Let that sink in. Hardworking families are struggling to make ends meet today. And with
Yet they can afford $400 Trump sneakers, and they can afford to donate to Trump so that he can pay his legal bills. But everyone is struggling so bad. But why then why is Trump's GoFundMe just overflowing with money? But okay, sure, why not?
Doesn't just like trickle down economics just sound like an insult on itself?
It sounds like you're getting your head pissed on, is what it sounds like, which isn't far from reality.
Well, I feel like that is how they think of it.
soaring mortgage rates and sky-high childcare costs, they're also struggling to.
Did she literally
And it's
just
like,
mention the cost of childcare when all of us know that anytime anything to do with any sort of childcare assistance comes up, we know instantly that it's just dead the fuck on arrival. I can't stand this kind of bullshit because in 30 seconds, I've already had to debunk how much shit. But the average Republican just hears what they want to hear and they don't think about it. They don't question it. And well, I guess that's why we're doing this, aren't we?
How to plan for tomorrow. The American people are scraping by while President Biden proudly proclaims that Bidenomics is working. Goodness, y'all. Bless his heart. No better. I'll never forget stopping at a gas station in
tons
Chilton
of
County one
tea,
evening.
sir. That's how
The
old my wife
gentleman
is.
working the counter told me that after retiring, he had to pick up a job in his 70s so that he didn't have to choose
All
between
right,
going
sir.
hungry
With
or going
hair
without his
streaming down your
medication.
face.
He said, I did everything.
She literally just said that he's like, I couldn't
basically
pay for
52
food
myself.
and I couldn't pay for medication. And it's a damn good thing that medication costs have been lowered and insulin capped. And I mean, can you think of another president that took on big pharma? I can't. So she's for socialism. Well, apparently anything that makes people's lives better, they refer to as socialism. So more than likely, I guess she is. Triple A in the house. Does
Well,
anyone
Skip, they're
believe
just
she
for
talked to an
cruelty,
old man
man.
about his problems?
It's just all about just hating. They just want people to fucking struggle because they're like, you gotta get to the same level as me.
Well, yeah.
Even though my parents have been rich and my family's been rich forever.
Well, anytime that, whenever I see some MAGA asshole complaining about the economy, but they actually, look like they have a decent house and stuff in their main profile photo, I always like to ask, so why didn't you mention bootstraps? Like, what happened to bootstraps? We're not doing that anymore. That's not a thing. Triple A in the house says, does anyone believe she talked to an old man about his problems? I don't believe that she talked to an old man about his problems. I mean, maybe an old man walked up to her and thought because she's a senator that she would give a damn. And she was like, oh, okay. I'm going to use your story and put it in my pocket just for scoring political points later.
Right. I did everything I was told to do. I worked hard. I saved. I was responsible. He's not alone. I hear similar concerns from fellow parents, whether I am walking with my friends or whether I'm at my kids' games. But let's be honest, it's been a minute since Joe Biden pumped gas, ran a carpool, or even...
I want to know when the last time she pumped gas is and didn't have somebody do it for her. because you know that she's not doing her own hair and makeup, so you know that she's not pumping her own gas.
Wait, do you have to pump your own gas in Alabama?
I don't know if that's a rule or not.
I mean, do you have a service person? I mean,
oh, I'm sure that she has somebody that drives her, and she has somebody that pumps the fucking gas for her. Ridgeway plays water polo, I am sure. Yes, I'm sure Ridgeway does. Theron says the majority of Americans can see right through this shit. They just need to see it. Well, the ones with brains have the ability to. And the ones who, well, I mean, there's a good amount of the population that this is what they want. They want to be told that they're a victim of everything known to man. Kind of like their thing. Yeah, it helps them excuse their mediocrity.
Lots
so
of people are intimidated, and the silent majority are intimidated to even say their opinions because a lot of these people are fucking psychopaths, and they're just scared of getting fucking murdered.
Well, when you say the silent majority, I don't know who you're referring to, because I know that's what the conservatives would always call themselves, whereas I never understood that. I mean, that was such an interesting juxtaposition, because the last thing they are is silent. And yeah. Last thing they fucking are.
And this is a theory that I have, that our culture has been flipped again, just like it has in like 1964 or something.
And push to go grocery cart. Meanwhile, the rest of us see our dollar and we know it doesn't go as far.
No, it doesn't, because corporations are overcharging.
And despite what he tells you, our communities are not safer. For years, the left has coddled criminals and defunded the police, all while letting repeat offenders walk free. The result is tragic, but foreseeable. From our small towns to America's most iconic city streets, life is getting more and more dangerous. And unfortunately, President Biden's weakness isn't just hurting families here at home. He is making us a punchline on the world stage. Look, where I'm from, your word is your bond. But for 3 years, the president has demonstrated that America's word doesn't mean what it used to. From abandoning our allies in his disastrous withdrawal from Afghanistan to desperately pushing another dangerous deal with Iran.
Is she not going to mention the 5,000 Taliban soldiers that were released under Trump that took over? No, she's not going to do that. She's not going to mention how the equipment that was left was demilitarized because she has no faith in the military and doesn't understand how the military works, and thinks that, yeah, everybody who's from the chain of command on down is going to be like, yep, let's just leave this gear. We're not going to demilitarize it whatsoever. Once more, tyranny is the absence of nuance.
President Biden has failed. We've become a nation in retreat. And the enemies of freedom, they see an opportunity.
She's trying to demagogue, and it's not
Putin's
working.
Brutal aggression in Europe has put our allies on the brink. Iran's terrorist proxy.
Yes, I agree. So that's why your party should stop praising him and should pass Ukraine funding. I love how they love to mention that Putin's a horrible person, and then anytime that they have a chance to stand up against him, they're like, yeah, but he's not that bad.
Yeah, it's just like they're for Putin, dude.
Nazis have slaughtered Israeli, Jews, and American citizens. They've targeted commercial shipping, and they've attacked our troops nearly 200 times since October, killing 3 U.S. soldiers and 2 Navy SEALs. Meanwhile, the Chinese Communist Party is undercutting America's workers.
The Chinese Communist Party is also funding CPAC simultaneously. You know, where all the conservatives gather to make their plans to overthrow democracy. Yes, the thing that is funded by by the CCP. So, yeah, once more, why is it that they treat CCP and Russia like they're these horrible enemies and then take money from them and defend them? I think it's just because of the gaslighting, like we were just talking about. Like, you know, the average person doesn't know the facts, so they just believe whatever they're told.
China is buying up our farmland, spying on our military installations, and spreading propaganda through the likes of TikTok. You see, the CCP knows that if it conquers the minds of our next generation, it conquers America. And what does...
And that's why they need Christian nationalist schools like the one that Tony showed on his program today, where it's basically the young Volk. It's like a fucking diet caffeine-free Nazi training camp. But sure, go off.
President Biden do? Well, he bans TikTok for government employees, but creates an account for his own campaign. Y'all, you can't make this stuff up. Look, we all recall when presidents faced national security threats with strength and resolve. That seems like ancient history. Right now, our commander-in-chief...
He is the only one that stands up to Putin. Trump says that they're smart and that they're strong. I mean, and embraces people like Viktor Orban. So, once more, confession through projection. Yes, this is a bad SNL skit. I completely agree. What's up, Godfrey? How you doing?
The free world deserves better than a dithering and diminished leader. America deserves leaders who recognize that secure borders, stable prices, safe streets, and a strong defense are actually the cornerstones of a great...
Are actually the cornerstones of nationalism. What is this mess? This is the Snarkathon, because this is the response to the State of the Union address, Godfrey. I hadn't watched it yet. I only knew it existed. Now, the actual State of the Union address was absolutely fantastic. However, this Dollar Tree nonsense, this ain't it. But we've just been snarking the whole time. Shooby-Doo1 says, the Dems got a cardio workout last night with all the standing and applauding. The GOP sat on their asses. Yeah, it looked like a Catholic mass with all the standing up and sitting down. Whereas I'm pretty sure that I literally saw one of the Republicans flipping through Instagram. They're just completely paid by Putin and in Donald Trump's pocket to not applaud when America does well. Their only job is to demagogue and make you think that it's horrible so that you'll elect fucking horrible fascist leaders. No, it was not a good look for the GOP at all, because the entire world was like, so these are the people who are deciding to not fund Ukraine. It looks like they don't even like their own country. Yeah, really horrible politics. I agree with you, Shooby-Doo.
Nation. And it doesn't have to be this way. We all feel it. But here's the good news. We, the people, are still in the driver's seat. We get to decide whether our future will grow brighter or whether we'll settle for an America in decline. Well,
this buffering is in decline.
I know which choice our children deserve, and I know the choice the Republican Party is fighting for. We are the party of hard hard-working parents and families. And we want to give you and your children the opportunities to thrive. We want families to grow. It's why we strongly support continued nationwide access to in vitro fertilization.
Yeah, they're trying to walk that one back real hard. Go to skipfranzjr.net for podcasts.
Fresh record player that, I could just spin records all the time.
I run into the bathroom and I'm covered in blood. Like I had put my tooth through my bottom lip.
For music. For gaming and pro-liberty game rants. That's skipfranzjr.net.